I often get the question, does every type have freckles? Well, I'm going to answer that for you today, and I'm going to show you how do the types express freckles differently. Hi, I'm Carol Tuttle. I am the creator of energy profiling. It's a 4 types profiling system that teaches you about your natural expression in your human nature, what you were just born with, what comes out of you effortlessly. And too often, people are trained to counter it for various reasons. Parents that don't understand a child's nature, they have a nature that's different than their own, so a parent will parent a child true to who they are, not necessarily who the child is. And so too often I'm working with adults that need to find their true selves because they've lost it through the journey of life. And so freckles are just a one of the many expressions in our physical characteristics. I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch my face profiling videos. I have 4 videos that feature women. I have 4 videos, of course, they are 1 per type, that feature men. And I have 4 videos that feature babies, children, and teens. So that's 12 videos to watch because the overall facial expression, as you look at the entirety of the face, is really the greatest and the most effective, accurate assessment tool in my system. You really don't want to single out freckles and decide your type based on what you're going to learn here today. This content is more useful when you're considering a type and it's just another confirmation of a type you really have zeroed in on and you really feel it's your type based on your overall assessment. Or it's just validating for the type you are, and you go, oh my goodness, I've never looked at my freckles that way. So you're going to just get another peek into who you are. Do not use, this is my disclaimer, do not use an assessment of your freckles to determine your type. It's one characteristic, one trait of your face. So make sure you watch those face profiling videos. They're all on YouTube. They're all on my website. They're really easy to access. They are free to the public because we want you to be able to profile yourself correctly and the people you love, because everything goes better in your world when you know your type. Who would agree with me? Write in a comment. How is your life better since you've discovered your type? I'd love to hear about that from you. So let's get going in our checking out the freckles. And we always start with type 1. Now, I want you to think of 3 keywords here: fresh, light, sprinkled. Okay, fresh. The way freckles express, and you see these 3 type 1 women, they offer a quality of brightening up their face, making it fresh, just healthy looking. Now, light, the freckles are a lighter quality. It's like they're just, and that's where the word sprinkled comes in. If you're to take the freckles and just kind of randomly sprinkle them on the face, they're just randomly scattered and they're very light in their coloring and their size. And you can see the different, there's no order to it all. There's no like, oh, they're always up around the nose, or there's any certain, we can see on our type 1 on the right side, she's got the most freckling that's obvious to the eye, but it just really is on her apple cheeks, on her rounded forehead, and just very creates a brightness on her. And then on the other example on the left picture, they're very, very slight, but they are across the nose bridge, under the eye. Again, sort of, they're outlining that apple cheek. And the middle example shows us more of a kind of outdoorsy, earthy, fresh look for a type 1 with the freckling. Like there's just been that sort of a glow of the sun. Now, moving to type 2, think of the 3 words subtle, blended, and soft. Now, you look at each of these women, you don't obviously see freckles right away. You might say, well, on the right one I do. And you see that on her décolleté, which is the chest area. And you do see them. Let's start with the example on the left. Very subtle, very blended quality and softening of they kind of blend with the skin tone. And we see that she has freckles in a lot of places on her face in her décolleté, but they don't stand out. Kind of like what type 2s have to deal with feeling like they're always put in the background, or they feel like they're in the background. It's like the freckles are kind of in the background until you notice them and you go, oh, there's the freckles. Then in our middle example, again, very light. Well, I'm these are soft, subtle. Light was for type 1. But you don't even notice them hardly. They're just a little bit around the nose area and a little bit up here. And then we go to the most freckled expression on the right example, where we do see, but it's almost like they're so blended, they are a part of the color of her skin tone more than an obvious freckle that has real distinct, defined expression. So that type 2, the key words that really fit who you are really are matching your freckles. Now, type 3, we're going to look at substance and angular and kind of like irregular, okay? Because hyperpigmentation is the most noted in a type 3's complexion, and so freckles can actually kind of move into that territory of hyperpigmentation. So freckles are more substantial, meaning they're larger, they're more obvious, they're irregular in their shapes, and they have a quality of being a part of, they create that quality of edginess and the texture of a type 3 skin. So it's like added texture with freckles. And you can see the freckles in each of these examples really clearly, where they've got a lot going on the cheek area, under the eye, the nose bridge, and then you can see even that comes down into the décolleté area, the quality of freckles adding texture, irregularity, substance in our type 3 example. Now type 4, I found this one of these, the type 4 examples, to be the most interesting. I hadn't never noted this before I really studied these photos. We're going to look at kind of a defined, precise, symmetrical. Now, what I noticed that I think our example on the left shows very clearly is the symmetry. It's like they're placed, they're very defined, precisely placed in a symmetrical way the same on each side of the face. If we look at her face and we were just to cover half of it, and then look at the other half, it's almost an exact match of the freckles. And I had never looked at it until I prepared for this video and went, there's the symmetry again. That definition, that precision, that symmetry. Now, in our middle example, I wanted to show this because we don't see a lot of freckling, but we see more mole placement, very defined, clear, on the marks on her face that we've given the nickname of beauty marks, that are very just so defined and clear on her skin, that really add to her beauty. And then on the example on the right, we can again see that symmetry, that exact match. Not as many freckles as our first example, but we truly see that. And they're almost like a straight line across her cheekbones, atop the nose of her bridge, over the other cheekbone. So there's that straight line effect in the placement of the freckles, because we've got the rectangular forehead, the straight brow bone and eyebrows, eyes set on a straight line. We've got freckles now landing on a straight line. So freckles really do express true to our movement. Now let's take a look at all 4 of them together so you can see the variables there. Remember the words for each of the 4 types. Type 1, fresh, light, sprinkled. Type, I hope I can remember them. I didn't write them down. This is very intuitive because that's how I teach information like this. Soft, subtle, blended for type 2. We've got irregular, I remember saying edgy, textured, and substantial for type 3. And then type 4, we've got that defined, precise, and symmetrical. So you can see the difference in each of those. It's very much true to their nature. Now, I hope this has been fun for you to look at your own freckles if you are someone with freckles. I don't have a lot of freckles. Type 3s can also get, I'm an example of that, the freckling on the décolleté or the arms and not a lot on the face. Maybe on your back you have freckles. I haven't examined that in the 4 types. I don't know if it follows the same patterns here. But share in a comment what you're noticing from watching today's video about your own freckles. Are your freckles true to your type? Because there is that variable always that you may have the freckling of a secondary or tertiary type, but your dominant type is expressed in the overall quality of your face. So what type are your freckles? Are they true to who you are? Look at your children. Show them this video. I think they might have some fun with this as a family interactive experience to just, it's a fun way to see ourselves, understand ourselves better, that our true nature that we're born with, the human nature of who we are, is really deep down within us. It's expressing through so many character traits of who we are, both physical and personality and behavior, how we think, feel, process this world, how we move through it. It's fascinating. I highly recommend you go to dressingyourtruth.com/quiz. I have a fun quiz you can take that starts you on your journey of determining your type and gets you involved in the information that I have to help you make that assessment. I also recommend you read my book. This is the textbook for the 4 types, energy profiling. Have you read it? It's Just My Nature. Let me know in a comment. Thanks for sharing this video with your friends and family members to help them understand themselves better. And thank you for subscribing and ringing that bell so you get notified when my next supportive, helpful video is published. We'll see you in the next video.